Welcome and thank you for tuning in. Today we got another how-to video for you guys, so sit back and enjoy. Alright guys, so we got a 2012 Mitsubishi EVO 10. What we're going to be installing today is bags over coilovers by Fortune Auto. Let's get it started. Now let's try to remove all of our wheels. Alright, so we have taken the wheels off already. I just want to walk you guys through what we're going to have to deal with. Just to remove the front coilovers, there's three hardwares that we're gonna have to remove. One right here, the one that I'm pointing at. Basically that secures our ABS sensor and our brake lines. After that, we're gonna have to remove these two nuts, one right there, one right here, and these two bolts. I believe the top one is eccentric bolt that adjusts your camber. So some people, before they remove it, they mark it, right, the bolt on, and another mark on the strut. After that, go to the top mount. There's only three nuts, one right here, one right there, and one right here. So that's pretty much it in regards to removing the front coilovers. As I mentioned before, let's remove these brackets so we can move it aside. Now let's remove the front coilovers from the steering knuckle. Alright, so we have taken these two bolts that secures our coilovers onto our steering knuckle. One is just a regular bolt, and you'll notice that the top bolt, there is some sort of eccentric on the very top of it near the head of the bolt. So basically that adjusts your camber, like I mentioned before. So be careful when you install this. Do not switch them. It usually goes on the top. Now let's split our steering knuckle from the coilovers. From there, let's go on the top mount, remove our three hardwares, and that's pretty much it. With the exact same procedure, let's tackle the other side. Now let's try to remove the back ones. Let's begin with removing these panels in the cargo or trunk area. Once we have taken those off, we can get access to our top mounts hardware. There's one right there, one on the other side of it. It's kind of hidden, but I'll get access to it. There's one right there and one right here. So when you get to this point, I would crack them loose and just kind of have it thread it in by a little bit. So when we do remove the bottom hardware, the actual coilovers won't just fall off. So it's one thing to do. So yeah, let's do that one. Make sure these ones too, make sure they're routed up or they would come out properly. Let's remove this top mount hardware. Now, let's remove that one single bolt that secures our coilovers to our steering knuckle. With the exact same procedure, let's remove the coilovers on the other side. So there you have it. We got all four taken off. Here comes the exciting part. We are unboxing this brand new Fortune Auto hand-built suspension. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Look at that. There's a box in a box. It's got some camber plates too. It's currently at 0. I'm gonna leave it like that because we're gonna do an alignment later on. There's the bag for it. Let me show you guys. There's our fitting for our line. There we go. Ain't that beautiful? Let's look at the back ones. Hot damn. And we're back at it again, installing the rear coilovers. So as you may have noticed, I adjusted the coilovers high. That way I can easily mount our coilovers onto our steering knuckle. So from there, let's completely secure our top mounts. For some reason, I did find it easier to route the damper adjuster first, then install the coilovers. Same goes on this side. Let's secure our top mounts. At this point, we can finally install our front coilovers. Installing is the exact reverse order compared to removing it. Once again, the eccentric bolt that secures the bottom part of the coilovers goes on the top. Now, here comes the air compressors and air tank. Alright, so before we start wiring everything up, I got the schematic right here. Here's our compressor and tank. We got a controller. A lot of it is already wired up, like the switch, relays. On the schematic, it only shows one motor. We have two right here, and the kit only comes with one wire that has a few sockets. I ended up buying two more of those. I bought red ones to match our wires, some terminals. It comes with two T-fittings, one for the front, one for the back, that splits left to right, and some lines. If you do have rear seats, remove those and some panels in the back. Now, thankfully, this car doesn't have it, so it should be easier for us. Here, we are removing some panels where we're going to route our wires and lines. At this point, let's remove our steering column panels. Alright, so with this thing partially in place, we can determine how we're going to route this wiring harness or wiring towards the front. Okay, let me show you guys what we have here. One is this one. It's a pressure switch. The black is grounded. The blue one goes to our ignition switch, our actual switch to raise and lower our vehicle. We're gonna have that by the driver's side. I'm gonna try and tuck it in. And these two wires goes to our battery. It's gonna go in series with these fuses. And lastly, we're gonna obviously our airlines towards the front. Routing time. Now to keep them tidy, I try to use them zip ties to keep them together. Right at this moment, I did find it easier to route our airlines with our hood latch cable. Once I got the lines from this side, I try to route it to the front and the center of the vehicle. Now, let's connect our blue wire from the pressure switch to our ignition. From here, we can reinstall all the panels we have taken off. At this point, right from the tank, let's route our airlines to the center of the vehicle. From there, we're going to install a T-fitting that's going to split the airlines between left and right coilovers. Alright guys, so you guys are probably wondering, why did I put the T-fitting right at the center and around the front instead of the back? So if I was to put it in the back here at the center, we would have excessive amount of heat here which could potentially melt our lines. They're just plastics. And number two, why did I put it at the center? Well, the thing is, I wanted to have an equal length lines to each coils, to the right and to the left. That way, the air distribution should be equal. Okay, now let's route some airlines to our rear coilovers. This part will require drilling our strut tower. I highly recommend to use some rubber couplers to prevent damage on our lines. Also, apply some paints on the bare metal that we have drilled. Some of these panels that we have taken off, we can finally secure it. Finally, the last part of our wiring, the ground and the two positive terminals to the battery. Lastly, we can reinstall all the trim panels and the carpet we have taken off from the trunk. After finishing all those wiring and lines, we can finally test it out. Here we go, moment of truth. It turns out that the controller only has one output, so I had to buy another T-fitting to split the air distribution to front and rear. For now, we'll install the wheels to check the height of the vehicle. As you guys can see here, the wheel gap is way too big. So let's complete our height adjustments. After that, let's finally install our wheels again, then torque it to specification. And that is it. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope this helps a lot of you guys out there. If you guys are looking to install just the coilovers, the idea is exactly the same. Just disregard installing the wiring and the airlines. So be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and feel free to share. Thank you guys. Have a good one.